is Clarissa Apology. I'm the program director for the California Ballet School, and today we are going to visit how to sew a pair of pointe shoes. So we have our 4 pieces of cut ribbon and our 4 pieces of cut elastic. So we're ready to move on to starting to sew. Now, this is the most basic method of sewing shoes that we use here at the school. Basically, this is the most basic method that can be used for first-time pointe students. But I have to say that 80% of what you will see today continues to be used on down the road, even as you make adjustments as a professional and advanced dancer to your shoes and the way you like things to fit. Here's your shoe. I'm going to take a piece of the ribbon. There's a shiny spot, a shiny side, and a dull side. It's kind of hard to tell on this particular piece of ribbon, but maybe more on this you can see shiny versus dull. Keeping that in mind, you want to take the end of the ribbon and fold shiny to shiny, because it's the shiny side we want out, and then we want strength here in this area because that's where we're going to sew, and that's where the most tugging comes. And we're trying to make it stable as it's sewn to the shoe. So again, shiny to shiny fold, about 3/4 to an inch. I fold in this end of this shoe, and I literally take the square that I'm holding and I kind of slip in the corner right under that fold, right there. And while I'm doing that, I've kind of angled it forward because it has to go up and around the ankle. So the secret with sewing pointe shoes to me is there's 2 layers of fabric in these shoes. Many times I've seen students who want to stab through both layers of fabric, and that's not even necessary. Just pick up that top layer, go through the ribbon, pull it through. And there's that knot. You're going to see that knot. Sometimes I will continue to sew and kind of get that knot tucked in. Other times I just leave it. And I will try and show you how to tuck it in. And I'm going to continue to make itty bitty little stitches, only picking up the first layer of the fabric all the way around the ribbon. And it will require you to kind of turn it as you're doing it. I'm moving rather fast because once you get going on this and you've done several pairs, things tend to move along. And what I mean by picking up the first layer, you can look at the other side of this pointe shoe and notice that there's absolutely no marks on the outside because I'm only picking up the first layer of the fabric. When I get to the top of the shoe, I'm only going to go through the ribbon and pick up the very top layer. And the reason I'm doing that is there's a drawstring in here. You don't want to catch your drawstring, or you're not going to be able to adjust that drawstring later because it will be sewn to your shoe. A couple of knots here by going up, going through the loop, pulling tight. Taking a stitch, going through the loop, pulling tight. We have our first ribbon sewn. You would do this on this side, then you would repeat the process over on this side. I'm not going to show it again on this side because we're going to move on to the elastic. Okay, taking this elastic and putting it right over the ribbon. This time we're going to pick up either the ribbon and the elastic, 2 layers of ribbon, or the canvas, 2 layers of ribbon and the elastic. As long as you don't go through all the layers to the other side, either way will work. I'm going to go all the way around, like I did with the elastic. With the ribbon. And when looking at this, I probably take about 5 to 6 stitches aside. Okay, here we are at that top again, so I've got to be kind of creative. I have to go through and just pick up the top of the drawstring casing. Pick up the top and go through again. You don't need much here because all you're doing is stabilizing the very top of the elastic and the ribbon to pull up the side of the shoe from the top. Around. I will tend to go past the original knotting area from the ribbon so we don't have multiple knots in one space. So I can throw another knot down here. Scissors to trim. Now you have one side completely sewn. Ribbon on top, elastic on the bottom, okay? The next step in this is I would put this shoe, I'd have both sides sewn, and I would put the shoe on the dancer's foot. And because this elastic is what's gonna really hold the shoe on the foot, the ribbon is more for decoration, this is gonna hold the shoe on. I would literally put this around the student's ankle and kind of find where it's totally snug, not loose, but completely snug and holding that shoe on. I would then trim the elastic at the appropriate place, and that's where it would hit. I've already done the pre-measures on this. I've already fitted on a student's foot, so I don't need to do that now. But if you're just getting home and you cut your 4 pieces of elastic at equal length and you haven't gotten a chance to do that, you need to do it on the foot. So I've already pre-trimmed this. I've already fit it on her, and now I'm going to sew it on the outside. The premise for sewing it on the outside, whoops, we did not our thread. The premise for sewing it on the outside is it will eradicate the blister issue. If you've got something sewn in here like this, and this rubs continually, and point shoes are pretty snug fit, it will eventually blister you. Once you get used to this, there are some that drop the elastic in later on the inside, but very shallow. So this, again, this is just the best way to start, but again, you will make more adjustments as you get further down the road with your point shoe sewing expertise. Again, I'm going to just pick up fabric, just pick it up slightly. Unfortunately, when we're sewing it on the outside, we're going to be dealing with knots, and it's not so pretty on the very back of the shoe, but we'll try and make nice even stitches, and at least make it look technically appealing. And now you've got the elastic sewn on the back of the shoe. When we've done both sides and both ribbons, has this appearance. So your foot obviously will go into here, and there's the elastic that's going to hold the shoe on, and there's your ribbon. You're going to put your shoe on, and then once you've had your first lesson and you've learned how to tie the shoe, and your instructor will help you with this, we trim our ribbons off. The problem with trimming our ribbons off is that they will tend to ravel. As you're seeing here, they'll start to ravel. So the absolute best method is to seal that ravel off with a little heat, and a lighter is the best way to do that. Have your parents do this. If you're a younger student, don't do this yourself. But it's the perfect solution because the ribbons have a little bit of a plastic nylon in them. So the minute you heat it up, that plastic seals that edge really nice. You can also cut it in we call it a snake tongue pattern, which is to fold it and cut it in. And that'll stop it from raveling too. So if you're not around a lighter, this will not ravel as well. And that's more of a traditional method of doing it. So you've got 2 choices of how to seal those edges. So here you are, your finished shoe.